Hello and good evening, Chicago. Welcome on back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. My goodness, but hasn't October turned into a busy month? Just in the past week, we had the Bears going out to Las Vegas and earning their first road win of the season. We had the White Sox appearance in the American League Divisional Series. Yeah, that didn't turn out as well as I hoped it would last week. We had the Bulls getting through their preseason, getting ready to tip off the regular season, and dropping the puck right now as we speak. The Blackhawks are starting their 2021-2022 campaign, and then also the Chicago Sky are trying to go and take their first ever WNBA title. They are playing out in Phoenix. Woo! That is a lot to try and keep up with, but we are going to manage that tonight. Welcome on in again. As always, I am your host, Adam Karnick. It's a lot of work, but we are going to get right down to it. We are going to kick things off tonight with the White Sox and the American League Division Series, but don't worry, it's Packer week for the Bears. We will be talking about that. And then before we get out of here, we will take a live look in and see how Candace Parker and the Sky are doing, how Jonathan Taves is doing in his regular season return to the Hawks. This is Chi-Town Weekly. Buckle on up. And once again, welcome on into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Before we get too started, I wanted to say good evening to Brandon out in Boston. He did an excellent job with Titletown Sports out in Boston, kicking our Wednesday night off out there in Boston. And now we get to come in here to the best sports town in the Midwest, and dare I say possibly in the entire country. I've said it before. I will continue to say it. Nothing against the other great cities across the U.S., but there's just something special about Chicago. We all know it. We all get to enjoy it. It's unlike any other sports town. And my gosh, have we got a lot to get through tonight. We are going to be talking White Sox. We are going to be talking Bears. We are going to be talking American League Divisional Series. We are going to be talking postseason all across the board. We're going to be talking about those hated Green Bay Packers. It's Packer week. We're going to be breaking that down. We're also going to be taking a look in at the live games going on right now. You've got the Chicago Sky and you've got the Chicago Blackhawks both going on right now as we speak. So we will be keeping an eye on all of that action going on here tonight. A lot to keep track of. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do need to take a look at our sponsors for the week. Starting off with the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. Congratulations to the Warriors, a 44-0 victory over the Moreno Valley Mercury this past weekend. The Warriors are now 4-3 on the season. They've got 3 games left to go in their regular season. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California_Warriors, or on Facebook by searching Southern California Warriors. And then Background Check International Business. Are you looking to background check a new hire on? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him help make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not for the use of any crimes, such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. Go to their website at bcint.com or check them out on Facebook, Background Check International-BCI. And then, of course, IE Sports Radio is available on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all by searching at IE Sports Radio, or go to our website, iesportsradio.com. And Chi-Town Weekly is available on Twitter to you as well, at IESRC. Please give us a follow there. And also then, if you're so inclined, follow along with my personal Twitter handle, that is at Adam_Karnick. So, I wanted to kick things off a little different tonight. Let's start off with baseball and talk about the Chicago White Sox. I don't know how else to look at this other than to say it was disappointing and a failure. If you could have a 93-win season be a failure, this is how you have it be a failure. To get bounced out of the playoffs in the first round and not just eliminated in the first round, bounced in the first round. They were not very competitive at all in the American League Division Series against Houston. You know, whether it was in the scores or just in the play itself. I mean, you look at the final scores there from each of the four games. Lost game 1 6-1, 9-4, 10-1 in their three losses. Yes, they did have the one win where they won 12-6, but for the most part, they were not competitive. Outside, they didn't get an extra base hit until game 3 when Yasmani Grandal hit a home run, and you physically could feel the collective sigh of relief from the players and the fans that, okay, all right, not everything's just going to be a single. And at that point, they were down 5-1, and that helped to get them back into the game, and ultimately then Larry Garcia put them ahead for good in that game. But overall, it was just a feeling of you were just waiting for, Houston's taking the lead. This is it. They're not going to be able to come back from this. There was a very finite feel to every game that once they got down, they just weren't going to be able to get back in it. It was very frustrating, and ultimately, I think you have to label this season as a failure if you're a White Sox fan. If you're Rick Hahn, the general manager, assessing this team right now, you failed. You set out. Yes, this was the first year of the championship window, but with the moves they made going all the way back to last offseason when they decided to move on from Rick Renteria and bring in Tony La Russa, all the way to then making the big trades that they made at the trade deadline, bringing in guys like Craig Kimbrell and Ryan Tepera and Hernandez over from Cleveland. There was a feel that, hey, this is the first year of the championship window, but this is a championship season. This is a season. This is a championship or bust kind of season, and to lose in the first round of the play. And yes, they made the playoffs for the second consecutive season. That's the first time in franchise history that they've made the playoffs back-to-back seasons. But they didn't get any further in the playoffs, out in the first round, and exactly one playoff win. It's when I was trying to prep this in my head and map out here's what I wanted to talk about, how I wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about Tony La Russa first, but now that I'm here doing the show, I feel like, yeah, I do want to talk about Tony La Russa first. You brought La Russa in because of the championship pedigree, because he was a guy that when you got into the postseason, the moment wouldn't be too big for him, and he would know what buttons to push and when to push them and how to push them and how to manage your bullpen and how to get you into this. He got you exactly the same amount of postseason wins as Rick Renteria did last year. 1. That's not good enough. That's not going to cut it. And you never felt like in the postseason or in the regular season, there was never that moment where it was, boy, I'm glad they've got La Russa. I credited him earlier. I've been critical of La Russa since the moment they hired him. I felt it was the wrong move. And I'm not going to back away from that. I did give him some praise during the season that, hey, he is letting the players be the players. That was always one of my concerns, was he's going to be the 77-year-old crotchety, grouchy, get off my lawn kind of manager. Meanwhile, you've got the team with the hashtag change the game. Tim Anderson bat flipping all over the place, and Lance Lynn saying, having thoughts of, why do we have the unwritten rules? We should do away with the unwritten rules. And now you have La Russa coming in and he's going to enforce the unwritten rules. I gave him credit during the season. He backed off from that. He let the guys be the guys, and that's to his credit. That was an outstanding first step. But then you got into the postseason. You never had a situation where you felt like La Russa managed the team into a victory. Heck, you could make the argument that he may have cost them because he may have been too slow on the trigger sometimes with his moves to the bullpen. Certainly in Game 2, you felt like in Game 4 as well that maybe he was, that maybe kind of should have sensed the danger coming and made the hook a little quicker. The White Sox, one of the things they were so worried about throughout the regular season was, will the bullpen be good enough? They did that last offseason, acquired guys like Liam Hendricks to try and shore up the bullpen because that was a weakness the season before. And then at the trade deadline, they made further moves to try and shore up the bullpen, bringing in Kimbrel, bringing in Tepera, trying to make this bullpen be iron-proof. They didn't get to take advantage of that bullpen. Listen to these numbers from the starting pitchers. Just innings pitched, first of all. 3 2/3, 4 1/3, 1 2/3, 2 2/3 innings. Your starting rotation in this 4-game series combined 12 1/3 innings pitched, 14 hits, 14 earned runs, 12 walks, 13 strikeouts from your starters for an earned run average from your starting rotation of 10.22. That's not going to get it done. The Astros are a really good team, and they now get to go and they get to host Boston in the American League Championship Series. Houston's in and out for the 5th year in a row. Boston gets to return to the ALCS. Again, if you want to get more of a perspective on that, check out Beantown Brandon. He does an excellent job. He's right before me on Wednesday nights. Go check out him on the replay on the podcast, Titletown Sports. He does an excellent job. I know he was crazy excited about his Red Sox tonight. He was having a lot of fun talking about them. And good for them for making it. Kyle Schwarber, of course, is there. Special place there. Of course, that means I'm going to be rooting for Boston in the American League Championship Series because I want to see Schwarber in the World Series again. I want to see I want to see Chris Bryant in the World Series again. At this point, I am wholeheartedly rooting for a Giants Red Sox World Series. But that's getting off topic. Credit in the world to the Astros for getting the job done and being pesky and hitting the ball and putting it where the White Sox weren't. But the White Sox have to execute better, especially from the starting rotation. It all starts at the starting pitching. For as much talk as there is of the modern day, the way postseason baseball is played in the modern day, where you really don't let the starter go more than 2 times through the batting order. And if it looks like he's getting into trouble, you got to be quick with that hook. You got to have somebody up in that pen warmed up, ready to go right now. That no starting pitcher is guaranteed anything more than the guy he's facing right now, because the second he gets into trouble, you've got to get him out of there. All that being said, you need to have better production from your starters than what they got. I know it feels contradictory to say that Tony La Russa wasn't fast enough with the hook, and then to also say, hey, your starters have to do more. The two aren't mutually exclusive. La Russa needs to recognize when his guys need to get yanked in a postseason setting. But the pitchers need to make that job easier on him and not get into that trouble so quickly. 12 1/3 innings total in 4 games from your starting staff. That's not good enough. That's 3 innings. That's 3 innings per guy. And only 2 guys even did that. Lance Lynn in Game 1 and Lucas Giolito in Game 2. They're the only ones that made it through the 3rd inning. I know Carlos Rodon was coming back from an injury, and it was a Herculean effort on his part to get out there on the long rest and all those things considered. But once you're out there, you got to deliver. Whoever you are, you've got to deliver out there, and they didn't do that. La Russa's got to manage better. He's got to understand when to get his guys up in the pen, when to get his starters off the mound in a playoff setting. He's also, frankly, he's just got to be willing to embrace the data, the analytics side more. I heard a lot of people talking about how they'd put the spray chart up there on the board of, hey, here's where the Astros hitters like to hit the ball. And the defense wasn't aligned to that in any way, shape, or form. That they were just, nope, we're playing at 3rd and short and 2nd and 1st. The amount of shifting that goes on in baseball, I think, ultimately is problematic for baseball. I think it's something they need to address in the offseason and look at correcting. But at the same time, until they do that, you need to take advantage of the freedom and flexibility that you're allowed in positioning your infield. You're allowed to put guys where the other team likes to hit the ball. That's legal and allowed to do, and the White Sox as a whole didn't do that, and it cost them in this series. The Astros were just hitting seeing eye singles. They were hitting the ball to their chart, to their spray chart of, hey, 75% of the time they're hitting it either up the middle or to the pull side of the field. You can shift your infield accordingly, and the White Sox didn't do that. Lots of other things with TLR and with Tony La Russa and the White Sox as a whole, but overall, it was frustrating to see in the series. I really did feel like the White Sox, this was a special team. We'll talk more in the coming weeks. We'll look at baseball as a whole here probably in a few weeks from now, maybe over the Bears bye week. We'll kind of look at both the White Sox and the Cubs and kind of look at off-season things that they need to do. Something that the White Sox will definitely need to do, though, is look at how they can correct their own mistakes, things that they can do to make their lives easier out there, because they've got all the talent in the world. They just need to understand how to use it better. All right, we need to take a quick break, and then when we come back, it's Packer Week. Bears and Packers, first place in the NFC North is on the line. Who in the world would have thought we'd been saying that when the season started, huh? This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back right after this.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the college, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
What is going on, everybody? This is Ben Mettello, the host of the Yinza Report, right here on IE Sports Radio. I'm bringing you the latest in the Steel City, the City of Champions, from the Steelers, the Penguins, the Pirates, as well as the college game with both Penn State and Pitt. You could join me every Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, where I'll be talking about everything from the Steel City, the City of Champions, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Motorsports takes many form, and there's one show on IE Sports Radio that's ready to cover it all.
I sure hope you're talking about you and I, Daryl, because I know the Extra Mile is the best place to go for everything motorsports related.
Yes, it is. From NASCAR to IndyCar to sports cars to everything in between, IE Sports Radio has everything covered for the fastest sport in the world.
Plus, don't forget all of our random shenanigans along the way.
That's right, Caitlin. So for plenty of motorsports coverage and plenty of Caitlinisms, check out The Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio with Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Caitlin Seen, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, I am your host, Adam Karnick. Thank you for coming on in and being here with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. The Bears went on the road in Vegas and came out on top. Color me surprised. I did not see that one coming. And that was a classic old style kind of Bears win too. That was one where it was you could feel the Mike Ditka, Buddy Ryan kind of a feel to it throughout the game, where it's just, let's just pound the heck out of the football. Let's play solid defense, and let's just not ask too much of our young quarterback. Though Fields did have his first career touchdown pass in that game. J.P. Horsted, he will hopefully be the answer to the trivia question many, many, many years from now of who got to catch Justin Fields' first ever NFL touchdown pass as he sets Bears records and becomes the most decorated quarterback in team history. I hope, anyway. Of course, it's way too early to really say that for sure with the young man. But overall, I had put out on Twitter, I was not able to watch the game live as it happened. We had some family stuff going on, some good friends of ours that are not only moving, they are moving out of the country. They are moving overseas to England. Incidentally, my wife mentioned, all right, when are the Bears next playing in London? So who knows? Maybe that'll wind up coming out of this. Will be a trip to a Bears international game. Who knows? But anyway, I was not able to watch live, but as I was keeping up with everything, I was thinking, this is kind of the way I was expecting the game to go. That Vegas would get off to a slow start, and the Bears, while they would have a lead, they would by no means, from a points standpoint, be pulling away with it. And that is exactly what happened. That is exactly how it was. It was 14-3 at the half. It was 14-3 at the end of the third quarter. You had the feeling all throughout that, yes, the Bears are controlling the game, but it won't take a whole lot for Vegas to get back into this thing. But then they didn't. You had the great interception from Houston Carson. You had the tremendous third down plays from Justin Fields, where the Bears admittedly did not ask him to do very much. He was only 12 of 20 for 111 yards throwing. They did not ask him to do a whole lot in this game, but he did it. He did what they asked him to do, got his first touchdown, didn't throw a pick. He did get sacked a couple of times. The running game, Damian Williams, it's easy to forget that Williams was, he's on the Bears as the backup to David Montgomery, and he sat out all of last season. But 2 years ago, he was not just a member of that Chiefs team that won the Super Bowl, he was a key part of that Chiefs team that won a Super Bowl. So Damian Williams did a chance to shine, took advantage of it, got a touchdown run, and Khalil Herbert, the rookie, did terrific. 75 yards on 18 carries and some good runs from him. Just some good-looking plays. The offense the last couple weeks, now that Bill Lazor has taken over the play calling and has freed up Matt Nagy to be the coach and just worry about being the head coach, not trying to be the offensive coordinator and the mad scientist and the quarterback whisperer and the looking for the touchdown play every this, that, and the other. It's taken some things off his plate. We've seen the team play well. And then, of course, defensively, Khalil Mack. Oh, my goodness. What can you say about Khalil Mack that hasn't already been said? Officially just the one sack. He had the takedown on the 2-point try by Vegas. He had another play in the game that the sack was credited to Gibson, but really Mack should have probably been credited with at least half a sack on the play. He definitely cleaned up at any rate on the play. Khalil Mack is looking so much better this season, and a huge part of the reason for that is because of the play from Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn is actually still leading the team with 4.5 sacks right now. His resurgence has been so key to making Khalil Mack look and play and have just overall better results. And I don't want to take anything away from the win. At the same time, you hear somebody say that, and the next thing that's coming out of their mouth is a but. But obviously, it was fortuitous timing for when the Bears got the Raiders. In the NFL especially, in all sports, it's not just who you play, it's when you play them. That's true in certainly all sports. But that feels especially true in football, where it's a 17-game regular season, but really it's 17 and now 18 little week-long seasons. The Bears were catching the Raiders on a short week, coming off of a Monday night game against the Chargers, a game that the Raiders had lost So they were reeling from that a little bit, and momentum like that does carry week to week in the NFL. It absolutely, unquestionably does. And then also, of course, you had the huge off-the-field story of John Gruden and his emails with Bruce Allen of the Washington football team. You had that storyline. Absolutely, that contributed to the play from the Raiders. And you heard some of that from some of the former players watching the game. That, boy, the Raiders, certainly they knew something was going on with their head coach. It's very possible they were affected by that. But at the same time, you've got to take advantage of those situations when you find yourself in them. And so, yes, the Bears were in a little bit fortunate of a situation, catching the Raiders when they caught them. But give them credit. They took advantage of when they caught the Raiders and made sure that they came out of there with a win. Now it's Packer week. This is going to be a test. This is going to be certainly a test for the Bears right now. Catching Aaron Rodgers. The Bears' defense has been so good this season. They've been a huge bright spot. Overall, they've been so much better than I would have expected them to be. But you've got easily your biggest challenge right now in number 12, Aaron Rodgers. What do you do with him? How do you stop him? Yes, the Packers are dealing with some injuries. Everybody's dealing with some injuries. I mean, you saw the Bears. If you looked and saw the Bears injury list, Khalil Mack didn't practice today. Now, it's still, he didn't practice on Wednesday of last week either, and he still played and turned in a monster game on Sunday. Justin Fields, he's on the injury report. Now he confirmed, he's fine, he's going to play. He was a full participant in that game today, in that practice today. But still, the injury list is long there for the Bears. It's long for the Packers. Yes, the Packers' offense isn't terribly diverse. It is effectively Devontae Adams. It is Rodgers to Adams, and then from there you try to grab one of the second or third options, but it's always going to be Devontae Adams first for the Packers. I'm trying to pull up real quick. I was trying to have all this kind of sorted and organized before the show tonight, but didn't quite work out that way. Just pulling up the rankings for the teams overall of just how the units compare against each other between the Bears and the Packers. And it is just I'm struggling to get everything pulled up. I apologize for that. the Bears still, even with the last couple weeks having some success, the Bears still struggle offensively. They struggle. Dead last in the NFL in passing attack. 566 yards passing. Dead last in the NFL in receiving. 728 receiving yards. Rushing, they're actually really good rushing. They're in the top 10 in their running attack. 634 yards rushing. 30th in points scored with just 84 points scored this season. And for comparison's sake, you're looking. Buffalo is the league leader in points scored with 172. That's more than twice as many points that the Bears have scored. For comparison's sake, the Packers right now, they aren't great offensively. They're 16th in passing. They're 21st in rushing. And they're 13th in points scored. But that is leaps and bounds ahead of where the Bears are offensively. What we're just gonna have to see here with this game, can the Bears keep any rhythm going offensively, and can they continue to knock other quarterbacks around? The Bears' defense is actually tops in the NFL in sacks. They lead the NFL in sacks. If they can get to Aaron Rodgers, he's a tough guy to get down even in his old age. But if they can handle him and handle Devontae Adams, that's going to be a really tricky one because the Bears' secondary, Jalen Johnson is having a terrific year. The rest of that secondary is struggling. And if they can get Devontae Adams is a good wide receiver. If he can get open, Rodgers is going to find him. We're going to learn a lot about the Bears in this game and in next week's game against the Buccaneers. We're these next two games in particular, we're going to learn a lot about our Bears. Hopefully they're able to take this one this week. I feel better about it now than I did a few weeks ago. I said that last week about the Raiders too. But man, I'd love to see the Bears pull one off against the Packers. At the end of the day, Rodgers is still on that other side. He still just knows how to do just enough to make sure they win. They're 4-1. Yeah, they needed overtime to beat the Bengals. Yeah, they got beaten to smithereens in week 1 by the Saints. They beat the Steelers and the Lions are two of their four. Three of their 4 wins are the Lions, the Niners, the Steelers, and the Bengals. Certainly not the upper echelon of the NFL this season, but they're still 4-1. They've still got Aaron Rodgers. I'm nervous for this game. But Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers, it's a whole new world we're living in right now. Who knows? Maybe this will be the kids coming out party, and we'll be able to crown a new sheriff. It's certainly going to be fun to watch on Sunday. All right, speaking of watching things, there are not 1 but 2 live games going on right now involving our local pro teams. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we are going to take a peek in and check in on how the Sky are doing in the WNBA Finals and how the Blackhawks are doing in their first regular season game of the season. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back right after this.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Harrison Glazer, and we're coming at you from the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. I cover the Jets, the Islanders, the Nets, and the Yankees.
This is Pierre Moss, and I cover the Mets, Knicks, Rangers, and the Giants.
Our show is live every Wednesday through Spreaker and a bunch of other ways to get our content. Again, we're the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. We talk about all those New York sports. It's a lot of fun. We get into all of it. Please tune in. Again, that's Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
And we look forward to having you guys right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
College football, and do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I A in the FBS. Well then, look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Shores of the Puget Sound to the rushing waters of the Columbia River, stretching across the Great Cascades, and on IE Sports Radio lives the Northwest Territory Sports Show, hosted by me, Brad Buckingham. On this show, I cover all the great collegiate and professional sport teams that we have here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Mariners, Sounders, and even the Seattle Kraken. But I can't forget all of that is good in Oregon either. I got the Trailblazers, the Oregon Ducks, the Beavers, even the Timbers, and much, much more. You can listen to the show every Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, noon to 1 p.m. Pacific on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And, of course, you can catch all those shows plus more here on IE Sports Radio. We really are from coast to coast throughout the U.S. of A., covering places from Boston all the way out to Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, of course, right here in Chicago, down in Kansas City, you name it. Chances are IE Sports Radio has got you covered. This is Chi-Town Weekly here with you for just a few more minutes before we wrap things up, and then we hand things over tonight to Marcus Los Great as he handles gloves off and all things mixed martial arts and boxing for you tonight. All right, before we got out of here tonight, I wanted to check in. We've got 2 live games going on tonight involving Chicago teams that we wanted to keep an eye on, starting with the Chicago Sky and the WNBA Finals. The Sky qualified last week for their second trip into the WNBA Finals. They took game 1 in the series against Phoenix out in Phoenix, 91-77 on Sunday. The game was going on basically simultaneously with the Bear. It was the Sky tipped off about an hour before the Bears and wrapped up just about the end of the first quarter, partway through the second quarter, 91-77. The Sky won in Phoenix to take command of the series very quickly, flip the home court advantage over to Chicago. In that game, Allison Quigley with 18 points. Kalia Copper was the big scorer in that one, 21 points on 7 of 13 shooting. She also added 10 rebounds for a double-double. To take game 1, 91-77. And now game 2 is going on as we speak, getting down to the wire. There are 1 minute and 33 seconds left in the game. It is tied at 74 apiece. Chicago led early on in the game, 26-20 at the end of 1. It was tied at 40 going into the half. The Sky then had a 63-57 lead going into the fourth, and Phoenix actually has taken the lead. Brittany Griner has been the big scorer for Phoenix tonight. She right now has 29 points to lead all scorers, and she has Phoenix up 76-74 with 47 seconds left to play in Game 2 of the WNBA Finals. Courtney Vandersloot and Allie Quigley are the leading scorers right now for the Sky, both with 16 points. Vandersloot with 12 assists to go along with that for a double-double already. Candace Parker with 13 points and 6 rebounds also for Chicago, down to 27 seconds left in that game. It is 78-74 Phoenix. So it's looking like the WNBA Finals will come into Chicago with the series tied at a game apiece between the Mercury and the Sky. But that's okay. That if you're Chicago, that's okay. You did your job. You took one of the first 2 games. It didn't matter which one you took. You just needed to take one of them. They took game 1. They will come home on Friday and know that as long as they protect their home court, as long as they take care of business there at Wintrust Arena on Friday night and then on Sunday afternoon, they will win their first ever WNBA championship. If we need it, Game 5 will be next week, Tuesday night in Phoenix. So by the time we come on next week, we will be talking about the Sky either coming up short in this, or hopefully talking about the Sky's first ever WNBA championship. So that's what's going on over in the WNBA. And then over in the NHL, the Blackhawks are out in Denver taking on the Colorado Avalanche to start the 2021-2022 season. For those that don't know, I have actually also started doing a second show here on IE Sports Radio. I do it on Tuesday nights, same time, 9 o'clock in the Central, 10 o'clock in the East, where a friend of mine, Zach Pupples, and we actually talk all things hockey. So if you want to get more, I talk quite a bit about the Blackhawks here on this show, but if you're looking for more hockey talk, definitely check us out, the Neutral Zone, on Tuesday nights right here on IE Sports Radio. We got done the last couple weeks. We were breaking down both the East and West conferences, setting those up, and then last night with the NHL dropping the puck on the season as a whole, we kind of previewed the first game of the season that went on between Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay, and then a little bit into some other stories. The Blackhawks, the big story, of course, Jonathan Toews back out on the ice. It's so good to see number 19 in white out there for the Blackhawks tonight. And then Marc-Andre Fleury making his first start of the season as a Blackhawk. It's not going well for the Hawks. With 7 seconds left in the first period, it is 3-1 Colorado. The Rockies scored 3 goals in very quick succession, all in about 5 minutes from each other. Johnson, Landeskog, and Byram all scoring for Colorado. The Hawks did convert their first power play chance of the season. Dominic Kubalik scoring on the power play with assists from Ian Mitchell, and new name that I need to learn for the Hawks, Kurashev, tallying the assists on that. But at the end of the first period, Philip Kurashev, at the end of the first period of play, it is 3-1 Colorado. So things not looking great for the Hawks. They got outshot in the period. Fleury made 16 saves on 19 shot attempts. The Blackhawks, meanwhile, attempted just 8 shots in the period. Colorado is for real. Colorado is absolutely a team that is probably headed for certainly for the playoffs, and very realistic chance that they will be headed for the Stanley Cup final. So a tough draw to start the season if you're Chicago, and it's not going well right now for the Hawks at the end of one. All right, that does it for our show tonight. I want to thank you again to our sponsors, the Southern California Warriors and Background Check International Businesses, for continuing to support not only this show, but all of the shows here at IE Sports Radio. Thank you to Larry and all the work that he does, keeping IE Sports Radio going, making sure we're all up to date on who's doing what around the station. Taryn, also a huge job there, making sure we're up to date on who's doing what, where, and when. Up next for us, it is going to be Marcus Los Great and Gloves Off, so you want to be sure to stick around and hear what Marcus is going to be talking about tonight. If you want to hear more of me, I will actually be on one more time this week, tomorrow night over on USRN. Seth Eves and I will be calling the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Philadelphia Eagles Thursday night game. So Seth will be doing the play-by-play. I will be providing color analysis on the side. That's my first attempt at doing color for a football game. So I'm looking forward to that. Very grateful that Seth let me hop on with him. So be sure to check that out tomorrow night over on USRN. Until next week, next week for sure, we are going to be talking all things Bears and Packers from the game on Sunday. We will be wrapping up the Skies season, taking a look at how they did in the WNBA Finals against Phoenix. We will be talking. The Bulls are starting things up here soon. We'll be previewing them. All that and more next week on Chi-Town Weekly. Until then, see you next time.